Hello, welcome to the Cables, Lace, and Tails podcast. My name is Sue, and I am a maker from northwestern Wisconsin. It has been a very long day. I had from 8 until 3, we had a long conscious discipline meeting at work, and it kind of zapped me pretty well. I am going to discuss some of the things I have been working on this past week, but I am quite tired. I do not know how long this video will be. First off, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking my videos. I truly appreciate all of the comments, all of the views, and all of the engagement. It keeps me motivated to finish everything I work on. So, while I was in meetings yesterday and today, this helps me pay attention. I make dishcloths. So I have another one somewhere else, and this is my one that I made today. And then I got about 2/3 of the way done with the second one. Oops, dropped my needle. And I just make these for presents for Christmas. My coworkers all get one. So I need probably 55 to 60 for just them. And then if I make extra, they go to like family or friends, or maybe my daughter will want to give one to one of her teachers. I'm not exactly sure. Okay, so before I get into any of my knitting, I will discuss, I'm making a apron by this pattern, Simplicity. This is the apron. It is a side tie apron. You can't really see there, but they're right there. And I cut out all the pieces, as I do. I've discussed this before. It helps me feel confident working on sewing patterns, just in case things don't fit correctly. I can size up, and I'm not worried about losing the pattern and having to buy another one. This is this tracing paper I bought off of Amazon, and I will show you. I have the ties done. I do have to undo. I tried a little bit because I did bring my thing, my seam ripper. But I'm cutting the fabric more than I'm actually cutting the thread. So I did not read the instructions. I was supposed to leave about a 1/2 inch flat to sew in the side seams. If it doesn't work out, I'm sure it will, but if it doesn't, it'll just be a bit bumpy. So here's the top. I don't really want to put it on over me, but essentially the skirt will come up here and the ties will be over here. This was actually quite nice. It is a lined bodice. So I'm using a thicker muslin from Walmart. And then I was running out of the thicker muslin. And so I used a thinner muslin on one side. I did buy more because I wouldn't have enough to do the skirt, which is all cut out. The pockets are all ready to go. And I did work on this a little bit last weekend, and it was such a pleasure, but time elapses so fast. I have no idea how 2 to 4 hours will disappear in a blink of an eye. So I do want to continue sewing throughout the year. So my thoughts are, and I got this idea from Retro Claude. She has a really nice YouTube channel. She does things in batches. Like she will trace, cut out the pattern one day, and then she'll cut out the fabric another day, and then she'll, sew certain things up, and then she'll set off to the side, and another day she'll iron it, and, etc., etc. So I'm thinking on those lines, although I would like to dedicate more like 2 hours of time instead of like a 1/2 hour, and get more done and sewing and pressing at the same time. I would love to dedicate more or an all day situation, but especially in September coming up, we are extremely busy. It's giving me kind of a lot of stress. We are extremely busy with family visiting, with birthday parties, with homecoming, with volunteer work, with school. It is a very busy month. Next week, students start. This is our week that we have all these professional development days, and then we have to do all of our, what do you call them, training videos, which we have probably about 30. It's a lot, but that's part of work. Okay, now I'm going to discuss one thing I started new after I finished working on a panel. So I'm going to show you the new thing first. I am making the Sailor Swift, where did I put it? Sailor Swift top by Kutovakika. I did buy this off of her website. It's also available on Ravelry, but AKA Nora Knits was doing a 50% collaboration with Kutovakika, and I got this in the stripe pipe sweater and grandma core hood for 50% off at that time. I am using Patons Linen, which is a discontinued yarn. I bought it from Joann's way before they closed, and then as they were I would go in, and anytime I would find it on clearance, I would buy it. This color is Goldenrod, I believe. Yes, Goldenrod. And this brown color is Sweet Potato. I am presently working on the back panel, and I still have 2 more repeats to do. This is the top, and where the needles are is the bottom, but it's really hard to see. So it's really pretty. I love this yarn. The yarn is 65% cotton and 35% linen. I do not know why Patons discontinued their yarn line. I do not know why. It is a beautiful yarn. I really like it. The price point may have like stopped people from buying it. It was like 7 something, but I would always get it on sale or like 20% off at least. It is coming along. I am using US size 2.5 or 3 millimeter. This is my lace Reflections needles by Knit Picks. I am an affiliate member with Knit Picks. My link is in the description below. This is their lace weight, so they have the lace cords here. They are not interchangeable with their regular needles. It's fine for me. Some people don't like that, but I understand. You're using a very thin needle and it should have a thin cord because you're using thin yarn. So it's coming along, but I needed these needles to do the ribbing on a different sweater, and so I forced myself to do that first, and then I said, then you can cast on this. But I also forced myself to sew something up, which then, you know, it's all incentive to get stuff done. Now, I'm only holding it in half, but look at how pretty that is. I want to be able to wear this top underneath sweaters at work, so I have like another layer, but I'm not overly hot, because there were times last year that I'd be walking around school and I would just be way too hot because I'm wearing one of these t-shirts underneath my sweater, my wool sweater, and I was just like, I wanted to make it last year, but I never did. And so I'm forcing myself to get out of my comfort zone of just working on the same things and try something new. I love stripes, by the way. I can't wait to make more stripes. It's very fun. It's like, yay, I'm on a stripe. and then you go. And I'm carrying up the yarn on the side, which is going pretty good. I did make one mistake as I was doing it. I'm doing it on this side. You can kind of see right here, it's kind of loosey-goosey. And I mean, otherwise it's pretty good. That's a mistake. But, you know, it's on the side. It'll be fine. It'll be covered with an I-cord edging. And what else can I say? I really love the yarn. And I try to do a repeat at a time, although last night I was so tired I could not finish the repeat. So the last three things I'm going to discuss are all the cardigans from this book. I have 2 set in sleeve. One has a V-neck, one is going to be a crew neck, and then I have a drop shoulder, and that's a V-neck. So I'm going to show you the first one. This is my set in sleeve. I have 2 panels done. Set in sleeve with a crew neck. So here's the back panel. This yarn is the Upcycle Alpaca blend from Knit Picks. It's a mixture of wool, acrylic, and alpaca. This is their sport weight version. This is the first panel for the front. This is the left side. You do the left first and then you do the right. And it's stocking net, so of course it's like a tube. This yarn does stretch quite a bit after blocking, which I now know because of previous uses with it. So I took that in consideration when I chose my size, because with this book, I'll just show quickly. Let's see. Okay. You just choose your yarn, and then you find your gauge, and then you find your size, and you follow that column. And then I said, well, in order for you to do the Sailor Swift top, you need to do the ribbing for the second front panel. So I did. And now I'm using a US 4 in the Knit Picks Reflections needles. These are a stainless steel needle with a little bit of nickel. They glide so nicely. They are smooth. They work really well with this yarn. I like the cables. They're not memoryless, but they're very nice. I like them a lot. The color here is titanium. Now, I haven't looked recently, but they only have the worsted weight version of this yarn on their website, I believe. That might have changed. I haven't really been purchasing any yarn because I have a lot of yarn that I can use, and therefore I'm going to use the yarn that I have. The other sweater, another cardigan that I'm making with Knit Picks yarn, which is the palette. This is Camel Twist. I don't think they have this colorway anymore, but they have a lot of variety of colors. I love this yarn. It's 100% Peruvian fingering weight. This is the first front panel, and I am using a US 3, I believe, for the main body. Yes, or a 3.25 millimeter. And for the ribbing, I used a US 2. It's coming along. It's one of those sweaters that is very slow because it's fingering weight, but I seem to have gotten quite a bit done this past weekend when I was just thinking about the last thing I'm going to share. Like, do I want buttons? How do I want to do this? Do I do this? Do I do that? And I just needed something to work on that I didn't have to think about. And cardigans in this format are really easy for me to go, all right, I know I'm just going back and forth for a while, and I need to get to, like, I don't know. Well, I'm just pulling out a number. 14 inches or 15 inches or whatever it is. And I just need to get to that length. And then I go on to the next part. Now, the last thing I'm showing, I keep in this bag tied up because my cat keeps going after it. And it is, I'm using the Barocco Dolce. It's another discontinued yarn. It's so beautiful. This is a braided core of nylon, cotton, and wool with brushed alpaca. And this is the color Jade. And I got it from Little Knit Seattle a long time ago. And it was on a blowout deal. So that's a sign that they're not going to ever have it back. But I didn't know it at that time. I bought 10 skeins for a really good price. I mean, I think it was like 70% off. It was awesome. I was like, if you don't buy it now, you're going to be really regretting. So this is, I'm going to hold it up. This is my Barocco Dolce V-neck drop shoulder cardigan. I had all the pieces done and I was blocking them last week. And then after I blocked them all, I steam blocked them, which was the best choice for this yarn. I have a handheld steamer. I just pinned them out and then I just, steamed them. And then after that, I sewed up the shoulder seams. They turned out pretty good. It's the invisible join from 2 bind off edges, which I use my Vogue knitting book for reference. I really like their pictures. I will just show. Okay, this is a hem. So they will talk about it in these little blurbs, and then they have the pictures to show, and it's just really, really a good resource. I think Roxanne Richardson discussed this book. I'm not 100% sure, but someone did, and then I looked up, and then I found it on thrift books for cheap, and I bought it. I think it was a library. It might have been a library book, but I'm not 100% sure. So after that, I've put in my sleeves. Just hold it up like this. I just use a whip stitch, just a standard whip stitch, and I like doing that. It seems the easiest for the sleeve, and I do it flat when I'm doing it in pieces. I have done it in circles too, but this one I did flat. And then once I'm done, I look at it, and then I can go back and lift up the yarn and then tighten it a little bit if it needs it, which I think I did. Then I do the invisible join on the body and the sleeve, which, there you go. They say to do it and continue, like a lot of patterns will say continuously do it. I don't. 2 reasons. One, by the time you get to the underarm part, it's a lot of fabric. And then, you see how it, I'll go back. You see how it kind of goes in its tapered edge? I start here and then I follow. So I'm following the closest 2 knit stitches, and I go up the center of those to create the join. For me, that's how I can see it. I don't know if it's 100% correct, but it looks pretty good, and it doesn't take up too much space, like on either side. There's not too much seam allowance, but I'm just gonna hold it. But there is some. But I don't want to do it on the very edge because it just doesn't feel stable. Maybe it is, but I don't know. Anyway, did all of that, and then I decided to pick up in one continuous thing. So I picked up all the stitches, and I am going around with the V-neck around the collar and all the way down, and I'm knitting a 1x1 rib for about 1.5 inches. So I was debating, do I put buttons on this? Do you see how ethereal this yarn is? That's the one thing I can say about this yarn. It is so ethereal. It feels so soft. It feels so good. It is so warm on my lap. And I kept looking at this button band that I'm making. I don't want to pull up my needles. And I just thought, it is so kind of loosey-goosey. I know steam blocking will help that quite a bit, but will it be too delicate for buttons? What buttons do I have? Do I use antique buttons? Do I need buttons? Will the buttons snag this yarn? In the future, for whatever reason, like sometimes buttons get chipped. And I debated. And I said, well, start the sweater, see how it goes. So I started the button band, and as I'm making it, I know part of the loosey-goosiness will disappear when I steam block it, but I decided no buttons. There's no need. It's just the cardigan. I probably will not button it, and that way I don't have to worry about catching a button on say a door handle, or like I found out with my most recent cardigan that I finished, it keeps getting stuck in the seat belt area. I don't know why, it just does. So no buttons for that one. So so once I'm done with the button band, which I think I'm about halfway done, I will be able to show it next week. Yeah! Now, like I said, it's gonna get real busy. My videos may or may not be very long. I'm not 100% sure. I've had a long week already, and I'm not even halfway through it. Today was a really long day, but the sun is shining. I gotta make some supper for my daughter and I, and I'm glad to be home and sitting here chatting about my yarn and projects. So until next time, thanks again for watching. Thanks for subscribing and commenting or liking or all that fun stuff. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Have a good day. Take care. Have fun. Bye for now.